So to give you a little background at LiveArea, we work mostly with enterprise commerce customers who are typically using one of the big 5 platforms, so think Salesforce, Oracle, IBM, SAP, Magento, many who launched with a DIY search approach several years ago when really it was kind of the only option out there. So when we say enterprise or DIY search, we're referring to tools like Solar, Lucerne, Elasticsearch, and Deca, and of course there's others, but while these are all extremely powerful platforms, they can require a lot of initial work to configure properly for a particular business and their customers, and typically need more ongoing support to properly maintain and optimize than many companies realize. Let's start by looking at that initial build, and there's a basic fact, which is building a site search engine that ultimately delivers the result that customers expect is hard. Customers are interacting with brands and sites all day long that have been constantly improving customer experience and providing innovative features that, after time, simply become the baseline expectations of those same customers. It's the classic Amazon or Google expectation problem, and we see it across all the core functional areas of the commerce channel. Customers interact with businesses every day, defining and improving what best-in-class looks like in everything from how you categorize products, the information you provide about those products, how they purchase and pay for those products, how quickly they get shipped and you receive them, and of course how easy or difficult it is to search and find them in the first place. So in order to provide anywhere near that Google or Amazon-like search experience that customers expect, you've got to start by getting the right data into the search engine to work with. We tend to look at that data as falling into sort of 3 main groups: the product and catalog data, the commerce and historical data, and then real-time or behavioral inputs, which can take a couple of different forms. When it comes to the product and catalog data, there's certainly some accelerators for this. So there's out-of-the-box integrations with some of those enterprise commerce platforms we mentioned earlier. There's third-party modules, tools, etc. But at the end of the day, we see a lot of work needed to get the right product and catalog data into the system. That might be as simple as just adjusting some out-of-the-box data feeds, or maybe including customized product data or combining data from other systems like product information management or asset management that just don't live in the commerce platform. But all of that requires a lot of IT and development resources. And then if you look at sort of the commerce and historical data, depending on the platform, some of that might be available. However, things like previous purchase history or top-selling products that you might want to use to influence search results, that's often going to require additional development work. So a little bit of extra time and cost there. And then as you start going down into things like real-time data, structured real-time data like inventory, pricing changes, that again is often going to take some additional work, and I think usually it's compromised in some way as well because of sampling frequency or an inability to make real-time changes to some of those attributes without sort of triggering re-indexing and things like that can't be done in the middle of the day. Behavioral inputs, which I think is where we're starting to get into some differentiation between just what you can do from a DIY search perspective and an automated perspective. We typically don't even see any of the enterprise search platforms that have this as kind of an inherent feature. So incorporating things like what a customer has just looked at or searched for during the session or browsed in a previous visit, things like that really aren't available, and it's fairly difficult to dynamically capture and feed any of that into an enterprise search solution without some fairly complex architecture and solutioning. So big differentiator there. Romil, maybe you can talk a bit about how BloomReach addresses some of the challenge of data input.
Yeah, thanks, John. Actually, I couldn't agree more. Getting all this data, like either we have data, product semantic understanding, or catalog, getting all this into a search server like Solar, clearly not a use case that we expect out of the box, and you are looking at building ETL systems or analytic systems to perform that job. But if you look at it from, say, a business perspective, what you're expecting is a system which gathers all this data, takes care of pushing it and making it reliable, even scalable, because the data scale is huge, and abstracts it out just so that the user interacts in terms of review and management. So if you're talking about synonym, you need to review the synonyms, or you have to, say, add more synonyms or something like that, but you don't want to be concerned about how exactly that is being pushed or that is being served up to the search servers. The other important aspect is it's not only about the data that is there in the catalog or the data that is there that's generated by the users on the site. It's also about data that is out there in the web. So when you're talking about natural language processing, about, say, daily trends, we're not talking about only the data that is generated on the site as well as the catalog, because the trends are dependent on the traffic and so on. So you need to leverage data that is out there on the web in order to pick up those trends as well as product relations. This kind of setup requires a whole new area of expertise, which is information retrieval as well as machine learning. So you can gather this data based on trends as well as behavior on the web, and you can pull that into the system of into the search serving system and leverage it for the search relevance. So that's the data generation problem, and as you have already spoken about the data delivery problem. Both of these are major problems with search systems right now.